Hello everyone, it's Mary. Welcome back to the channel and for another installment of Color and Chat, where I will be coloring up a project and chatting with you about a certain topic. So I'll put some information on the screen regarding the project. I won't talk about it much as we'll just kind of get into the chat. So today's topic is going to be, can you make it in this industry, or how far can you go? What is your capability? Something along those lines. That's what we're going to discuss today. So this is a question that has not been posed to me necessarily that much, but has, or at all, if I'm thinking about it. But I have been asked about how to start a YouTube channel, those types of questions. But I have heard this question to multiple people. And in the form of one way or the other, I want to start a YouTube channel. What are your tips? I would like to, how do you make it big? How do you make your stake in the industry, etc.? So I've heard that question in some form or fashion. And I've heard lots of answers. And of course, everyone's answers are going to vary to some degree. But there have been some answers that I've heard that have said something along the lines of, what are your reasons for starting the YouTube channel? So you have to know that. That's number one, and we'll get into that. But also, if you plan on making a living from doing this, don't plan on that. And I understand completely where that is coming from, and that's actually really a good piece of advice to help manage expectations for that person. Basically saying, it's hard, it's going to take time, you're going to have to build things up, but it can also be interpreted as that can't be your goal. And I would disagree. So I'm just going to say that flat out. I disagree with that. And the reason I disagree with that is because I, nor anyone, should really tell you how far you can go with the goal that you have. That is purely on you. We can definitely give you advice and give you some of those things and maybe barriers that you'll hit and things that we've learned, and we'll pass that along. But I in no way, shape, or form am qualified or have the right to tell you that you cannot do something that you want to do. In fact, if you want to make this a life for yourself, make a living doing cards, there are some ways that you can do that. You just have to do your work and your research. And so that's what we're going to kind of talk about today, is maybe some of the things I could pass on or chat with you about in encouraging you to do that. This, hopefully, though, will apply across the spectrum, not just card making, not just crafting, not just YouTube. It could potentially maybe speak to you in your own profession if you're not a professional card maker, or whatever goal that you have. And so that's my hope, just to kind of pass on some of those thoughts that I'm having. As always, with the Color and Chats, I love to hear from you and hear your insight. So please keep that in mind as I'm talking along this Color and Chat. Some things that you want to add, or maybe things that you, maybe I hit the mark on, maybe I missed the mark. Put that down in the comments. Let's talk it out. I love hearing other people's perspectives because it's only going to widen my brain. So I appreciate that. So, okay, let's get started. I'm going to talk about the first thing, which is, can you do it? And I'm just going to jump right to the answer. Yes. Yes, you can. You can do whatever you set your mind to. I don't mean to sound cliche, but it is a fact that if no matter what it is that you want to set out to do, there is going to be a way to make that happen. Obviously, there may be some limitations to this, right? If you have a broken leg, I'm not going to recommend you go run a marathon. But you understand those limitations. Generally speaking, though, if you have a goal in mind, you're going to have to do some things to put in place to work towards that goal. So we're talking about, I want to start a YouTube channel. Let's answer that question from my perspective. Yes, start the YouTube channel. There's some things there's crafters you can reach out to. You can reach out to me, and we can give you maybe some insight into where to even get going with it. I started from a YouTube channel. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to edit videos. I reached out to some crafters on YouTube that seemed approachable, and they helped me out. And so, yeah, do that. Baby steps all the way. But there's also some other things that I can tell you for how to kind of move forward with that. One of the things is that you want to know what your goals are. So you can't just say, I want to start a YouTube and that's it. Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to make this a living? What are your circumstances? Do you have children to feed? Are you getting burnt out at your 9 to 5? Like, what are the reasons that you want? So set your goals. Also, with regard to knowing your goals, you want to be very clear about that, because if you're very convicted, if you're just, this is why I want this, then you're going to need to remind yourself of that if things try to steer you off course. So that's another reason why goal setting is so important. Okay, so you know why you want to do it. You're excited to get going. The next thing I would recommend is to start researching your audience. Some of the ways, I'm going to stick to the YouTube example here and the crafting example, because I started a YouTube channel, and I also don't know all of your individual professions. So I can't give you examples, but try to apply it to anything in your life. Okay, so what I mean by study your environment, I mean, before you study, let me back up. Before you study the environment, you have to know yourself. So what are your strengths? What do you bring to the table? If you are, you love making cards, you feel like you feel like you're good at it. Who cares what other people think? You feel like you're good at it and you want to share that with everybody. Then you have to know what your strengths are in doing that. And I feel like the reason I'm advising that, to know yourself, is because when all else fails, you're going to have some place of comfort, some place of built confidence that you're going to be able to rely on. I love making cards, and I think I make nice cards. But I don't think there's areas of card making where I know that I'm not the best at, obviously. But I feel like I have a really good time on my videos. And that's one of my strengths, is my energy. I love it. I feel like when I'm doing a voiceover, you are all sitting right there with me and we're chatting. And that's important to me. And I hope that comes through on my videos, because I feel like that's a strength of mine. So know yourself, know what you bring to the table. Another thing, when you're kind of looking at the whole environment, to include yourself, you want to know what people are interested in. So when I started YouTube, I started with stuff in my craft room, and that's great. And I love doing that. And the reason I started YouTube is because I had no friends at the time. Sounds so sad, but I had just moved and I had no crafty friends, no real friends living near me. And so I was just like, all right, I'll go make some online friends. And so that's why I started. But when I started it, I thought, boy, this is a lot of fun. I was having a good time and the feedback was really good. And I started really I don't even want to say super slow, because I don't even know what fast is, honestly, on YouTube. But it took me, I would say, to give it a measurable point, it took me probably like a year and a half to get 1,000 subscribers, I think, maybe more than that. I don't quite recall, but I started to notice, as I was doing different things on my channel, I would get spikes of people's interests. So if I did a kit video, that would spark people's interest. If I was using something new on the market, or if I labeled my video, use what you have, like I was reaching different audience members by doing that. And so that was helping me realize that you need to study your environment per what your goal is. Right? So if your goal is to have an intimate group of people on Facebook, then you're going to have to kind of study your channel, or frame your channel around doing that goal. If your goal is to one day be noticed to be on a design team, or your goal is to have so many views that you're able to make money from YouTube revenue, then you're going to have to continuously figure out how to look at your environment. What are the things that are working? So that means market research. Look at other people's channels, see what people like, what they're interested in. Read people's comments on other people's channels. And that helps to see, like, oh yeah, people are really responding to this, or that, and that's a good thing. So those are some of the examples about studying your environment. The next thing that you have to do when you're going after your goals is you got to put in the work. And I don't mean work tirelessly. That's not what I mean. What I mean is the work that I just described, the work of knowing yourself, of knowing your environment, of putting a little bit of, bringing your spin onto your craft, but being, this is a hard word to say because I don't want it to come out wrong. Because if anyone knows that I have a good time on my channel, it should be those people listening right now. But being professional. And what I mean by professional, it varies. It absolutely varies. And the reason I'm even hesitant in using that word is because people's minds automatically go to behavior. And I'm not talking about professional behavior. That is part of it, but what I'm talking about is if you're trying to make card making or fill in the blank your profession, then you need to treat it as such and be professional with it. And so some tangible examples of that would be if it's important to you to build up an audience for yourself, then you want to be consistent and you want to be responsive. And any business owner will tell you that you need to be professional with your customers, with your clientele, with whatever it is, again, I'm not going to put you in a box because I'm not sure what your goals are, but you have to put in the work and you have to be professional. And so take a look at that and take a look at some self-evaluation and what does that mean to you when you're trying to build up whatever brand you're trying to build up. So you got to put in the work. And that's definitely going to vary from person to person. What does that look like? I am in no way, shape, or form attaching hours of work into it for you. That's your own thing. I also would say on that note, while we're on it, not to burn yourself out on something, because I have gone through burnout. I work a full-time job. Wife, mother of two, and I am I try to be as present as I can on YouTube, and I, own a business. And so there's a lot of things that are, my plate runneth full. Or that's not even the saying. Look, I'm so tired I can't even say the saying right. My plate runneth over? Is that it? Okay. Anyway, so you get it. You get what I'm saying? Put in the work. All right. The next thing I can advise you to do is ask for feedback. Ask for feedback. I am telling you, reach out to people that are going to be honest with you and give you feedback. And then make your cringy face and prepare for it. Because what you shouldn't be doing is you shouldn't be going out to people who are not going to tell you the truth. And again, find the people that maybe will tell you in the most gracious way, but find people who are going to tell you the truth about what it is you're trying to do. I remember starting my channel and I reached out to some people that I didn't quite know. Like I didn't know them personally. And I was like, I'd love for you to look at my channel and provide me some feedback. And it was very, very encouraging feedback. And boy, am I grateful for that. But I kind of missed, pardon my French here, but the crap sandwich. And what that is like good feedback, give me some constructive criticism in the middle, and then end it out with some good feedback. I missed that. I was kind of only getting some positive, encouraging feedback, which is great. Trust me, builds up the confidence. But I also didn't know what I didn't know. And so I would have loved to have heard some things. So then I'll tell you when I did get some good feedback. No, that's not right. When I did get some constructive feedback, I should say. I became a member of a design team. And I remember the business owner, she was saying to me, she said, how do you take your pictures? Your pictures are too dark. And I was like, I don't know. I'm just snapping them with my camera and moving on with my life. She's like, no, you need to take them in natural light. Try that and try some other, just do that. Well, I did it and it looked so much better. And then eventually I started to lighten the pictures up a little bit, add a little bit of contrast, things like that, and make sure I had lots of lighting on them when I was taking them. So my point is that constructive feedback helped me grow. Look for feedback and ask for it and be prepared for it when you get it. But if you're hiding away and don't want to hear what people have to say, because 9.9, let's go there. This is my board certified data. 9.9% of the time, people are not going to offer you feedback. They're not. Because they don't know how you're going to take it and they don't want to be rude. But if you are saying to someone, excuse me, can you please give me feedback on this channel? And I'm going to need you to come up with at least 3 things that I need to fix. That gives people the open to be honest. And so that's I cannot stress that enough. And then when you ask for feedback, and also when you don't, because there's still that percentage of people that are going to offer you feedback, even though you didn't ask for it, be prepared for it. And always look at the feedback that you get as an opportunity. That's it. If they come back with some squirrely, wonky stuff and you're like, yeah, I can't, in your mind, like, there's nothing I can do about that, but thanks for the feedback. Then that's, got it. But if it's something that you maybe can work on, then look at that and see. Maybe that's something that I can fix. So be prepared for criticism. If you're going to put yourself out there in the public eye, some people are going to freely share how they feel. I never get offended by that unless, no one's ever said anything truly offensive to me. I just don't get offended by things. I think I've gotten a few, some people would say negative comments on my YouTube channels, but, I thank them for it and I go and I see if it's something I can fix. If it is, I try to. I think one time the most disappointing piece of feedback I got on the channel, but also that made me laugh out loud, was all the comment said was yuck. It's funny now just talking about it. It just said yuck. That was it. Just that word. And I was like, well, what's yuck? My voice? Was the lighting yuck? Like, what's yuck? Talk to me. But yeah. So, it's going to come to you. So when it comes to you, just don't let it bother you and just try to do your best. Okay. So those are some tips that I can say if you want to make anything, but card making specifically, because that's what we're talking about. If you want to make this a living and you want to really pursue this, those are some of the tips I can give you to kind of get you started, hopefully. But the very last thing I want to talk about, and the very last piece of advice that I would like to share, is 100% build each other up. There are other people in your profession, whatever that is, whatever your profession is, card making, whatever, that are doing it alongside you. There are people in certain areas of that profession that are better than you in certain regard, and there's people that are not as skilled as you in certain places. You should build each other up in whatever that is. I live by the mantra that no candle ever lost its flame by lighting another candle. It hasn't. The only thing it has done is created more light. And so when you see someone who maybe by society standards is your competition, quote unquote, don't look at it that way. That person deserves encouragement just like you would want encouragement. We all do. We all should just push one another to be the best versions of ourselves that we can be. I firmly believe in that, and I will always encourage people to do that. I don't ever want to be compared to someone else. I don't want you to ever compare yourself to someone else. But I do want you to look around and see what strengths other people have and encourage your own self to work towards whatever that best version of you is. That I will encourage you to do. I have to say that one of my jobs in my career, my professional career, has been, I was an instructor and I was teaching leadership and management courses for 4 years. The best team I have ever been on in my life. By far. And the reason why we were such a good team, there was about 10 of us that were instructing at the time. The reason we were such a good team is because we each knew what our strengths were, and we each knew what each other's strengths were, and we pushed ourselves to be the best that we could be in that arena. So for example, we had a guy on the team whose name was Ryan, super good shape. He could have put a cape on and saved the day all the time. This guy was just super fit, really athletic, and he was the fastest runner on the team. And so whenever we would go out for a run with the students, 2 or 3 of the other guys would run with Ryan, knowing full well they were not going to beat him. But it didn't matter. They wanted to run with someone who was better than them. And so that was going to make them better. And so we each had our strengths. We had one who was such a good storyteller, like just funny and charismatic, and you wanted to soak it all in. So you'd make sure you were at every one of those briefings, because that was going to help you moving forward with your skill set. And so my point is that look to other people out in the industry who do something really well that you want to do well, and learn from them and encourage them along the way. And be kind to yourself as well, because we all bring something to this. I don't care if you started making cards yesterday. You bring a fresh perspective. You bring new ideas. You bring a sense of whimsy and innocence. So it doesn't matter if you've been doing this for a day or you've been doing this for 10 years. Everybody brings something. So encourage one another, be kind to one another, and really just help build up your fellow crafter. With regard to this, if you're using this reference for your own personal profession, then use that and build up your team. We need to stop being so concerned about someone coming in, swooping in and taking our spot, or the competition is going to run me out. Because I'm going to tell you something. If you have that attitude, then yes, you can go ahead and check that box. That's going to happen to you. I can't predict the future, but I just feel like when you're so worried about something like that happening, most of the time it is going to. Just relax and really try to help one another along the way. So I feel like this horse is now been beaten way too much, but hopefully you get my point. It's very important to me, and I really wanted to kind of drive that home. Very last thing I want to say, sort of like a PSA before I go, that I recently, for the second time, watched Brene Brown's A Call to Courage on Netflix. It's about an hour-long special, and I found it just amazing. So I would highly recommend that to anyone. If I can make your decisions for one day, I would say start your day with that special and your favorite hot drink, and you're going to have a good day that day, I can guarantee. Okay, so in summary for this coloring chat, I want to encourage you all to go after your dreams and your goals. Yes, you can do it. Know yourself, know your strengths, study your environment, put in the work for that profession. Don't forget to ask for feedback, prepare for it, and prepare for that constructive criticism coming your way. And most importantly, build each other up and be kind to one another, because after all, it's what it's all about. So thanks so much for hanging out with me for this color and chat. Don't forget to comment below if you want to add your insight, your tools for success, things that you found along the way, and then read other people's comments, because you all do such an amazing job sharing your perspectives down there, and I so appreciate you for that. So we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.